probably a Blaze. I definitely don't feel like a solo Akali is in the works here, but it does remain flexible, so could go into his hands if they really want that matchup. Oftentimes given over some good priority. I say that's a pretty sizable payment, but it's worth it. Yep. The desk was talking about this specifically. The Varus for Tactical has been insane. We talked about it and we were highlighting it during the game as far as his accuracy with the arrows, and it wasn't just that game previously, but he has had multiple huge carry Varus games. Only problem with Varus, no escapes, my friend. Easy target.
I need to see some protection drafted with Tactical's Varus. Otherwise, playing an immobile marksman into Akali is about like getting a root canal while doing a calculus test. It is just not a fun experience fundamentally. The other picks we're going to see here for Golden Guardians before more bans roll in, Viego and Ezreal locked in here, so some powerful stuff. TL thinking about a couple different options here, but it's the Lucian picked up.
Yeah, a lot of anime highlight characters locked up for some big plays. Some big wins, possible big losses as well. Lucian being paired here with it. Very interested to see how Team Liquid as a team play around this champion just as a team. You know, not even separating the individuals. Like, can they actually play off strong laning phase and get into some jungle priority here? Is the Lucian really going to open up more jungle camps for the Rumble to go with? Because, yeah, you know, it is always nice to have differing damage types, but sometimes I feel that that is over-prioritized in the current state of the game. And one of the biggest things for Rumble is that CC. So Varus brings some, but solo laners having it is also always very nice. So you can also play top triangle of the map. And really play off of those early Rumble ultimates, giving you some good priority through these jungle skirmishes, getting in for invades, and setting up for Rift Heralds and early Dragons.
Well, in the second half of the draft here, both teams are prioritizing the support picks that their opponents would like to play, removing the engage power of the Leona, getting rid of the Xin Zhao now by making sure that Iconic can't pilot that one. Meanwhile, Golden Guardians say, hey, Varus needs to be protected. No Thresh is allowed. I'm curious if they'll ban the Tahm Kench here as well.
Yeah. Definitely high likelihood of banning it. That or the Braum, maybe. Braum is also another decent defensive pairing with this group, and Braum plus Rumble can also have pretty big impacts on your team fight later, so it's one of these defensive ones, pretty good options. They opt for a late Gwen ban here. Okay. It definitely is doable, and Gwen can be played into the Viego lane quite effectively, but I would also say, since you're already showing this Akali, maybe you want to swap the Akali away from the Lucian, because Team Liquid are looking at trying to abuse that Akali early. It's the biggest thing with this champion. So many people have been complaining about the power of it and the scaling of it, but what you really need your opponents to do, or what your opponents really need to do, excuse me, what you don't want them to do is punish it so heavily early. You know, taking away jungle camps, abusing her before she does have that big kill threat, before you get your max rank and your 5-point strike.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the last set of changes to Akali did tone down her early laning strength, made it so she wasn't as much of a guaranteed I get to get past lane phase no matter what you do, instead making her more vulnerable, more squishy, and giving her a better payoff later on. The Braum will be locked in here for the Golden Guardians, and what will their final pick be? Everybody's hovering over so much different stuff. We're not even going to comment on the hovers anymore. That's not the point of things. What will the final choice come out to be? Golden Guardians, and it looks like this one might be the most serious one. Yeah, yes, the Nocturne locked in.
Okay, so Viego jungle, high probability there. Yes, they can be swapped around and you can Nocturne jungle, but I say your default now is Nocturne lane because the laning is actually very strong for this champion. Top side, last late lock-in here for Jenkins. His Gangplank is banned away. The Akali's taken away.
Oh, is this?
Okay, I really wanted that too, okay?
I wanted that.
For those that, you know, don't have the Jenkins history laid out before them, Kennen was the original main champion for him. Created a lot of waves there. Even people went so far as to call him one trick on it, but they don't lock it in. We don't get to see it today. This is one I've been looking at as far as LCK and LPL top laners already been bringing the Camille back. And the reason for it, Flowers, is the rise of Divine Sunder and the better option for a Sheen item, because it means that the Camille doesn't have to fully invest in the Trinity Force, and you get to abuse the Divine Sunder power. The current state of the item is extremely high, and you can just go off that plus the grass. Your lane is very safe, as well as being able to have, you know, the kind of more standard but very bruisery. Divine Sunder into Steric's Gauge is the build I expect to come out here. I believe this is the first Camille in LCS, though I have been paying attention to it in LPO.
And honestly, I love this pick into champions like Akali and Ezreal that are naturally so slippery anyway. I don't care if you have 4 dashes in this stupid overpowered smokescreen and your flash, you are now stuck in the hexagon of time to die.
Welcome to the ring. You can't get out, and they're going to try and roast you inside. Honestly, it's you can kind of hover to the sides and stuff and get away from a bit of Rumble ultimates, but the lock in there is definitely well placed. Even just playing off of a Camille E and slows and stuff is a very good combination. Camille, one of the biggest strengths for this champion as a top laner is how you can push lane and go for invades in jungle. So when you combine it with a long range ultimate like Rumble, it puts so much threat on those Camille picks. So if Jenkins does have a good early lane, and he should, into Akali here, because they've swapped it up to solo on top side with the Ignite teleport, honestly, this can become very, very annoying for Iconic in the jungle. He's on the Nocturne, so trying to farm very powerfully early on, try and get to his level 6 so he can have his ultimate, but with the Ignite there for solo, it's also more dangerous, and maybe Santorin does a reverse clear to get over there.
And you and I were even talking backstage before we got on the desk today about how it feels like Nocturne's just the default top laner now instead of defaulting to jungle, so having him back here in the jungle role, a little bit more unusual. Solo on that Akali, as you already said, and AblazeOlive hoping to pop off here on the Viego. There's a lot of squishy targets there on that enemy team. You got a Rumble in the jungle, you got Lucian, you got Varus. Very easy to reset off of some of those and continue to chain that team fight power. Golden Guardians are setting up defensively just in case there is a late invade coming out from Team Liquid. And remember, if y'all got some weekend errands to run and you don't want to miss any of the matchup, you can check out an audio-only cast of the games throughout today on League Day. Be sure to check that out, especially if you've got a boring meeting like Kobe suggested yesterday or I suggested earlier. Everybody's got boring meetings in their lives. It's the nature of the game. Why not do your best to pay attention to something fun?
They're listening. We're not supposed to say that.
Well, I don't work for them. I work here. I'm not in a meeting right now. Go watch our show. Okay.
I also wanted to give credit to AblazeOlive for his Viego play earlier, so shall see if he can have the big impact that we're looking for him, because Jenkins has role swapped the Camille into the Viego lane and away from the Akali lane. So as we suspected, trying to pin down this matchup here for Team Liquid, get that Lucian into the Akali lane so you can get full punishment. Really trying to abuse it early on before Akali racks up gold. Your goal here with the lane swap is to push in the Akali, force the Akali to miss CS early on, so it delays power spikes. It delays, you know, the extra gold funding this champion that really does rely on getting your max rank 5-point strike, plus then your extra ranks in your ultimate. That's when the back line really starts to cry.
Tactical and CoreJJ, very effective trading there in the 2v2 bottom side. They had the level 2 spike. Their opponents couldn't respond, and Stixxay and Chime both lose about half HP for it. As Solo is not feeling much better up here against this Lucian.
Yeah, Jensen with the role swap doing a very good job pushing in the minion wave. Also, you see him trying to harass on every attempted minion here. He waits for the attempt on cannon, cues right through the minion there, easily able to get extra harassment and force out the potion.
Okay, invade from Santorin, but the smite by Iconic rings true, and he's able to secure his own Braum. Honestly, Jensen and Jenkins being on the same team is hella troll. I'm just going to say that right now with the names because it's so easy to get them. It's like Hoohie and Hooney in the same game, but they're on the same team too. It makes it very confusing in the middle of big chaotic fights. I will tell you that right now.
And then they swap lanes.
Yes, and then they swap lanes. So now I got to try to get them right even more. Okay, super focus time. Team Liquid, CoreJJ and Tactical still having control over this bottom lane. Very modest CS advantage, but you can see a little bit of roaming going on here as Chime leaves the lane. Santorin will look to secure this second Scuttle Crab. And so that's a double crab early on for him as CoreJJ goes on Stixxay here in the bottom lane, gets the heal out early.
Yeah, pretty big punishment on the hook here. CoreJJ finds another opening, but they don't have vision.
Ooh, not what they wanted to see there. Chime jumps in, but the Winter's Bite will not find the target he wanted. So Tactical just walks it off.
Yeah, there's not a lot else for Iconic to do because as we kind of suspected from Santorin, he did the reverse clear where you start on red side so you don't get counter jungled, then down to blue and back up for top scuttle so you can make sure your Lucian lane has priority over the Akali and you track enemy jungle so that there's no gank thrown Jensen's way and he can continue his crusade of abuse on the Akali.
Yep.
And that was well executed. So it resulted in double scuttle crab for Santorin for Team Liquid, in addition to the Lucian being able to punish Akali, keep him very low on health as well as CS. Solo has well,
Okay, CoreJJ starting off things here yet again in the bottom side, and even though Iconic has been hovering around here, he's just never there at the right moment, and Golden Guardians can't make much happen. Now back in the mid lane, it's Jenkins who will be getting some help here from AblazeOlive. It's the flash in coming out from Santorin. Electro harpoons, and he caught himself a big one. First blood to Team Liquid.
it works everywhere, Flowers. The Camille Rumble combination. Top lane, mid lane, doesn't matter. Very good move here from Santorin. He knows as soon as he exit the Black Mist, there's no extra steroid for move speed for the Viego. So yes, you can trade flash for flash, but if Rumble flashes first, you've got scrap shield speed, you've got your Electro Harpoon slow, and you can run them down. Flame Spitter on, overheat auto attacks. Santorin is crushing it for Team Liquid. The coordination early we talked about with double Scuttle Crab, allowing the lanes to play how they want to with the Lucian top, but also combining there with Jenkins off of the good E stun for the kill in mid lane and turning that into an early dragon. Incredible stuff here with the coordination from Team Liquid. Let's see how he got around this ward. Okay, so he should know.
Seen.
Yo, you just placed a control ward, but guess what? The Camille engages, and it is that little step back. You saw that little step back from Ablaze into the mist. Santorin knows where the rest of the mist is. There's no way this is leading back towards your turret, so guess what? Here comes a rumble.
Yeah, if you're too far forward, the ward is not going to save you. This is a public service announcement. This is not an excuse not to buy wards. Please continue to buy them. Just make sure you're looking at them.
And thank you for the observers for pointing that one out. They give us the replay showing the placement of the ward and the kill of the ward by Team Liquid. So no extra excuses there as far as the information available to the Golden Guardians. And all credit to Team Liquid for their early decision-making and how Santorin's playing around both solo lane matchups.
Yep, talking about them solo lane matchups, 60-38 is the CS count in the top lane. You've already got the Seeker's Arm Guard built for solo. Yes, this is no longer the incredibly overpowered laning item it used to be, but in a Lucian matchup, you gotta take what you can get, man. He's just trying to survive up there.
Yeah, you gotta just pick up any scraps of gold you see on the ground. You see a torn dollar bill, doesn't matter as long as it's not torn over 50%. You can
Tape
still
it back
use
together.
that. Look it up. As long as there's more than 50% of it left, still good. Honestly, Santorin now, though, with the Rumble Ultimate, things get worse. Bottom side, we've seen these repeated engages from CoreJJ. They have not resulted in any of the significant summoner spells being blown by the Golden Guardians bottom lane, though it has resulted in one turret plate being lost as far as the constant punishment from the Team Liquid bottom lane. And this, by the way, is their preferred bottom lane. I feel like there's so much control in it. Yep. Another game where they bring out the double CC. The Nautilus Varus brings so many picks for them later on into the game. It also allows them to punish the lane phase so that it opens up roam timings for CoreJJ, and he can get out, use his ulti and his hook towards mid or jungle.
And CoreJJ is a world caliber player on all types of supports, but watching him on an engaged type of support versus an enchanter, I always want to see him on the engaged types of supports. His ability as a playmaker, his ability to recognize situations, both offensively and reactively, is so good. I just love seeing him shine on these types of picks. Solo going in on Jensen here in the top lane, finds the ignite. Jensen with a flash away, trying to stay alive, but the calling's coming down. Solo's going in. Iconic is popping off here, grabbing the kill on the enemy top laner. AblazeOlive looking for the kill onto Santorin, now back in retaliation. Jenkins is here and he's ready to go. AblazeOlive stealing away the Rumble body, and Jenkins jumps back in for the stun. Flashing forward with a Hextech ultimatum. Needs a little bit more to get it done, but he won't quite find enough damage here just yet. Jenkins backing away. Maybe wants to go back in, but not quite yet. That trade doesn't end up cleaning up the final kill here for Jenkins.
It's It's the funniest thing, you know, and we always wait for the break point in these Akali matchups versus the ranged squishy champion that's trying to abuse them early on. All right, you're basically just trying to tire them out, you know, float like a butterfly for the beginning. Okay, dodging punches, dodging auto attacks, harassment constantly early on, pre-6, and then you've had it. Okay, Flowers, you can only take so much abuse up there. And Akali with level 8 with the ultimate goes for the all-in with the ignite, tries to get the solo kill. And they do convert on it, so do get the extra gold with killing off both Jensen and Santorin here. But this is when it's unleashed. Okay, Lucian, you've had your fun. You've been punishing me the whole time. I'd say generally the critical part to try and flash is the R2, but the early flash here to get into range of Santorin so they can try and get counter kill. It does do enough damage to the Akali. You can see Solo was burned down so low by the ultimate from Santorin and the Dark Harvest proc that he had to back up to the wave, which allowed Jenkins to go in for this. But I like how AblazeOlive was able to actually fight his way out of the Camille engage here, and they didn't give over another counter kill. So the Golden Guardians do rack up the extra one there in the top lane skirmish, and it is the break point that feels good for Akali, is now being able to force these all-ins, try and take down these backline squishies.
Yep, we've got ourselves still a 1,000 gold lead favoring Team Liquid. They got the first Drake for themselves very early. Santorin soloed that one down. The next Drake of the game will be spawning here in just about 10 seconds. As Golden Guardians want to fight that, we will see. Iconic is heading down towards this bottom half of the map. Paranoia is ready to go once more, but it's CoreJJ who's in the river here first. Santorin right behind him. See if Team Liquid goes for a pick here. There. Oh, nicely done with the piercing arrow, and it gets him a level up too.
Nice, nice. Dragon will be the bigger creep started up at the moment, and that one should easily go over to Team Liquid, though Iconic is wrapping around. CoreJJ here with a flank position to punish if they overcommit to the Dragon, but it's not going to happen. So Team Liquid, they set up for these possibilities. They end up not needing that setup, but they did their due diligence, you know, cutting off some of those options. So I like the force there. It is second Dragon on only 11 minutes, 20 seconds, so it's a very good pace for them.
Nice and early stuff there. They can keep control over this bottom half of the map and keep stacking those up. We have seen things switch around a little bit. You got Jenkins back up there in top lane up against Solo now. Kind of, they're recognizing, okay, Lucian can't just bully Akali anymore. She has the all-in power. Throw Camille up there to deal with her now instead.
As soon as they start stinging like a bee, that's when you gotta get that lane swap in. Honestly, look at the rotation towards bottom too, because they're keeping tactical mid by himself because it's Varus, long range, you can annihilate the wave. But look at, they've actually just traded Jensen. Okay, you get a support now. CoreJJ's gonna keep you safe. Did that big old Akali come take your lunch money, Jensen? He ignited you, killed you. All right, CoreJJ hovers down bottom to allow him to farm it up. Once he recalls though, back over to vision duties for himself, sweeping up through the river. Both rivers really kind of lit up there by Team Liquid, so I like the preemptive usage.
Okay, and for a second there, I thought it said I thought I saw Gale Force pop up over the Camille on the scoreboard. I was like, wait a second, this is some new age technology, but no, Gale Force done now for Jensen. On the
you ain't heard about that one? The crit Camille?
Yeah, somehow that had missed my radar, unfortunately, but we got the Gale Force for Jensen's Lucian. This item, of course, gives him much more playmaking opportunity, the ability to dodge away from stuff, also find the execution damage, but it's Santorin picking up the third neutral objective of the game here for TL, uncontested.
Yeah, speaking of dodging abilities, for both Tactical and Jensen, the most critical thing for them to flash, for them to Gale Force, for them to try and dodge is going to be Akali execution, R2 attempting on them. It's very difficult to deal with a lot of these divers since you've got your Nocturne, even though it's coming from jungle and is the very tanky build, is going to be a little bit less fed than solo lane Nocturne, so not as scary. Guess what? The other dive pairings, the dive buddies that are coming along are going to be able to add that punch, and there's execution damage in Viego's ultimate. There's execution damage in the Akali as well. So they have to be on their toes during the paranoia
Yeah, nearly dead definitely rounds up to fully dead against a composition like this, my friend. And that is one thing both of these marksmen need to be eternally mindful of here in this game. Gold lead is sticking around about the same area that it has been in. And you can see the items coming online here. You got the Prowler's Claw done for the Varus. You got Santorin completing his Night Harvester here. So lots of extra upfront teamfight burst power if that equalizer finds its way onto everybody. Meanwhile, on the other side, Immortal Shield Bow, a big pickup for Viego, and trying to get him online and make sure he can get that ever so important first reset.
Yeah, definitely my favorite of the builds for the champion. Seems like combining that with the steel caps makes sense with the double AD carries.
Yeah.
Even though there is decent rumble damage here.
Double AD carry and Camille. Like there's a lot to be able to block there.
Got to worry about, okay, yes, rumble is going to be some magic damage where I have to worry about positioning, but that is damage you can avoid with good positioning, especially with Viego. So definitely like the investment there. He's looking for high durability.
And Solo is now past the point where he's down 25 CS and the lane is miserable and all you get to do is stand in the wall and stare at your own turret. Solo's feeling great. 137 farm here on the Akali. Did not die a single time early on. That's only 4 less CS than the Lucian. And it's still a lot more than the enemy Camille. Of the 4 solo laners, Jenkins is actually the one who's a few waves behind.
Yeah. I guess scrim stuff, they keep trying to sell me these Lucians, and I'm not buying on the Lucians, okay?
Scrim bucks are worthless.
Scrim bucks are not paying it for me. I prefer stuff like LeBlanc maybe into the Akali for super hard punishment early, chaining into jungle ganks, being able to set up there. Actually kill her. Yeah, deny some CS, be aggressive, try and actually kill her. It's very difficult because with this champion, as soon as you give it to your opponents, you've got to punish it early. You really want to try and get some sort of lead out of it, get some sort of objectives, some lane control, some jungle control with it. But it seems to have been a very difficult task for a lot of these teams to actually get enough out of it to justify giving it over. Because guess what? You're speaking of timings for Akali. Solo on level 11. Now you're feeling great.
Oh, yeah, and we got the Drake spawning in 10 seconds here, too. Remember that Team Liquid has 2 of those compared to the 0 possessed by the Golden Guardians, but Golden Guardians has more bodies in the bottom side river first. Rumble's ready to go. Beware the equalizer in these types of fights. Now, of course, Infernal Rift does remove a little bit of the severity of the choke points, so you have a bit more room to move around outside of that, but it's still a very dangerous situation to find yourself in. Team Liquid continues just posturing here with Jensen, CoreJJ, and Santorin. They've got Jenkins up there in the top lane. He's heading his way down here now. The Dragon's already at half HP. If Team Liquid want to try to contest this, they've got to go. Equalizer comes down, but the Dragon is already slain by the side of the Golden Guardians. A TP's coming in, and Iconic has decided to jump into the middle of everyone. Chime's going to be taken down. Iconic's going to be taken down. There are a lot of problems here for the Golden Guardians. Yes, they got the Drake, but they lose 2.
2 kills, and yet I still want to rewind and look at the timing on setup because I'm still a little bit, dubious as far as was it really necessary to delay that long by Team Liquid and not force in a little earlier? Because the value of if they get to start that fight earlier, and even if it's just a smite fight and a 50-50 of grabbing that soul point that early into the game would be tremendous. And you don't have to completely divert your attention away from actually looking for the fight rather than looking for the steal. Still throw your Rumble ultimate for the fight. Still look for the kills and the pick-off there. But let's see about the possible setup. Yeah, I mean, top lanes, they could channel their teleports a little early. They're both walking down now. It feels like communication as far as not wanting to burn the cooldown. So then once they wait for Tactical to fully push mid-wave and walk down, the Dragon's already dead. So that at least is good for Golden Guardians. You already know the ending to the story, though, Captain Flowers. And it is 2 body bags on the side of Golden Guardians. Gladly picked up there by Team Liquid to further this gold. Rumble
I hated that stasis from Chime, by the way. That was one of the, hey, here's a golden trophy for the kill you're about to get stasises. Whenever you're about to die and it's just not going to do anything, you don't like to see it get wasted, but Jenkins going in for a quick trade here against Solo in the top lane. The Akali still without an item fully completed. I mean, that's going to be the story of things when you have to stop off to get the Seeker's Arm Guard, you get the tier 2 boots all the way. That Mythic will be delayed, but it should be coming online anytime soon here as the paranoia is used, and Chime is out of position. The CC comes down, a lot more going through. Jenkins ends up in the wrong spot, and Jenkins is now cut away from everybody else, but they've turned their attention over onto Solo. The Akali's getting away, but CoreJJ's gone fishing. Somebody get the kill. There you go. Jensen gets paid.
Akali getting away. Not today, says CoreJJ. Flashes in to be able to get it, and guess what? Now your jungle is TL territory.
And CoreJJ is not stopping. Viego wants to go in for the reset. AblazeOlive being kept alive here by an Immortal Shield Bow proc. CoreJJ's at about 12 HP, but that's enough to get out. Jenkins keeps on going in, and Stixxay is going on the retreat. Jensen has approached from the flank. They force out 2 flashes, and everything's coming up TL.
And they even got Mr. President. CoreJJ evacuated from the jungle just in time. AblazeOlive procced his shield bow and flashed out because they saw Jenkins coming from the flank, and they didn't want to wait for the Camille to get there, but that means they also don't get the reset. Prowler's Claw ult attempt from Tactical does force out Summoner Spell here, with the Rumble Ultimate also being used on Stixxay.
Okay, Golden Guardians kind of losing control, losing their footing in this game. 6-2 in the favor of Team Liquid, as they have that 3,000 gold lead. Under 2 minutes until our next Drake spawns. Everybody's feeling pretty comfy. The only 2 deaths are on Santorin and on Jensen, but they're both still doing A-okay. And you can see now with Santorin not having that stopwatch available any longer, at least he will be a point of vulnerability there if he goes in a little too ham. That might be something the Golden Guardians can punish. But honestly, Kobe, it's just felt like the Golden Guardians aren't on the same page. People are getting caught out, and it's not working for him here so far. Chime has rotated down here into this bottom lane, but Santorin is right there too.
And you got to start worrying about that Camille. The Divine Sunder way past done, already looking for the Hydra as well. So, gonna be a very difficult side lane to deal with, if I don't say so myself.
Yeah, and yeah, you're gonna have an Akali, but Akali doesn't want to be hunting Camille the entire game. She wants to be hunting Lucian and Varus and these more vulnerable targets. So that's going to be another thing that they have to deal with moving forward here. Ezreal is on the 2-item power spike. Muramana fully evolved, Divine Sunder in the inventory. Made sure he rushed those so completely. He's still just got the level 1 boots. Chime is still sitting here in the brush. Now, Chime did not connect a lot of Winter's Bites during lane phase. So we'll see if maybe he can aim those a little bit straighter here. Gets the ulti through. Jenkins trying to get away. He wants to stay alive, but it's a 3v1, and Golden Guardians get their pick.
Great use of the extra members of the team. Yeah, maybe the 1v1 is a little dicey, but they get the 3v1.
Well, here's the follow-up, and Team Liquid immediately make it even numbers on the map. Now, of course, support for the top laner is not an even trade. Tactical's under a lot of pressure here, but it's a double kill. The smoke ain't gonna save you from the fire. The damage comes through, and Solo and Iconic are both down. Tactical survives with 200 HP, and AblazeOlive and Stixxay are left in a 2v4.
Yeah, that's going to be Team Liquid with the Dragon setup, too. They've got CoreJJ to start this one out. If they could actually land one onto AblazeOlive, they've got plenty of damage to follow up. The teleport flank will come through.
Okay, AblazeOlive now finding himself caught between members of Team Liquid. Hextech ultimatum, there it is. That's what I'm talking about. It don't matter how good you are at getting away. Camille says nope. And Jenkins looks for even more. CoreJJ, Santorin, and Jensen right behind him. Stixxay tries to walk it off, but over the wall comes Camille, and the uppercut kick straight out of Mortal Kombat. See ya.
Finish him! He's able to get it there. Chops off the head. Meanwhile, they actually just run straight to Baron, my friend. With those death timers, they're not messing around with this small fries dragon.
Well, I mean, Iconic is alive. He can try to paranoia in for a steal, but Team Liquid will force their opponents to come try to answer this. They're saying, all right, it's a 22-minute Baron. What are you going to do? Already down to half HP. They do this incredibly quickly with 2 marksmen. Baron at 4K. They're ready to turn if need be. Solo's already jumped in. Solo with a stasis, buying himself a moment longer. Iconic is instantly dead. Solo will follow. They do not die alone, and Baron's over to Team Liquid.
Ezreal all probably...
Oh. 26
back to
HP. 26 HP.
Oh my goodness. That's honestly going to be a lot of money now for TL, though. sad stuff for Golden Guardians. They don't even get the kill on the Ezreal snipe. But with this Baron buff, there's so many towers to take. They've only taken one tower this whole game. So these are the types of Baron power plays where you get 5, 6, 7K even in the aftermath because there's so much to pick up. Here's a look at how they got so close, but not close enough.
Nope.
Akali goes in for the execution damage over the whole team, but they're not low enough to finish anyone off, and being close doesn't count at all. So Dragon picked up here as well since they got the extra kills off of Baron, and TL just get everything they want wrapped up with a nice little bow.
And their lead is so extreme now that we might not even get the 5-minute timer for the Infernal Soul. It is highly possible that Team Liquid can just end this game if they get another really good team fight for themselves. And CoreJJ has found so many dredge lines to get so many picks and do so many fights this game that I have full faith that they will be able to find a team fight if they want a team fight. They will continue pushing down here in this bottom lane. They've only taken 2 turrets so far the entire game, so there is a lot of standing gold for them to collect here with this Baron.
Okay, easy split pushing for the Camille. That Titanic Hydra we're looking for is complete, so you annihilate minion waves. Oh, bottom side engage though.
They're trying to engage while Camille isn't here, but it will not work. Jensen's already on a killing spree and Chime is already down. Jensen does a little bit of a YOLO play and it don't work out, so he'll be taken back. Santorin with the stasis. Solo also doing the same, but now here comes Jenkins. The cavalry has arrived. Everybody on the Golden Guardians getting cleaned up, and it's an ace for Team Liquid.
Yeah, that's about gonna do it. The only one down for TL is Jensen, dashing in on the Lucian right into face first tower aggro. It's going to be finished up with Baron, though. Honestly, 20 seconds left on AblazeOlive as well as Solo. Even though Iconic comes up,
Stixxay too.
They get right in there. This is going to be huge, huge devastation late on the base. Won't quite be an ender, but
yeah,
that is gonna be so big for Team Liquid.
Not enough to end the game, but having that lane vulnerable, having that inhibitor vulnerable.
Another one?
Chime, what are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? Now we got a TP. Okay, Solo gets slowed down a little bit. We got vulnerable health bars here. Iconic's getting away. Team Liquid still staying grouped together. Solo is here on the flank. He jumps into the middle of 4. Solo at half HP. Tries to find the damage. Won't get it. Tactical dominating. AblazeOlive jumping in. It's a 5v1. And Santorin is unstoppable. The score was only 420 even for a moment. They rack up another one before I'm even able to make a joke out of it. Team Liquid just slamming this game.
Yeah, they're not stopping for memes. All right.
No.
Okay, please get out of the way. We're trying to end the game here. Stop harassing us. Let us back. Spend this money and return to your base. Here's another look at the initial engage. This is a good one because the Camille is split, and with Nocturne ultimate, Camille can't teleport in. So they want to try and take their numbers advantage fight while they can, and they at least get the focus down there onto the Lucian, but they don't do it quick enough, and Team Liquid too big of a lead. They're able to finish it off. Tactical, another beautiful snipe at the end just to finish it off. That is going to be a wrap. Bottom side is opened up. That tower is down. Plenty left here. Ooh, they need to reset pretty quickly, actually. You know, Team Liquid are already knocking at the doorstep.
Yeah, Team Liquid should just have that point of one more fight and the game is over now. Those tier 2 turrets are no longer standing. There is an exposed inhibitor in the bottom lane. Inhibitor turret is ready to be targeted here in mid as well. And remember, they got 2 marksmen. Makes it that much easier to siege and find those individual auto attacks every here and there to take that thing down. Incredible lead, too. 12,000 gold at 27 minutes. Golden Guardians lose about 2/3 of the HP on the mid lane turret. Minion wave floods into the bottom lane now as well. 90 seconds about on both Infernal Soul and Baron.
Are they actually going to go for the dive or just 2-shot the turret? Well, CoreJJ says both. I will flash in for the dive, and we 2-shot the turret.
Yeah, even though he doesn't find the dredge line, they get the turret anyway. I feel like that's the first one we've seen CoreJJ miss all game. AblazeOlive and Solo trying to join up here with the rest of the team. Solo's below half HP. They can't really even try to go in too well, but instead they're going to give it a shot. Paranoia's already out, Chime's already down, Solo's doing the same. There is not a chance in hell that Golden Guardians survives this. Team Liquid doesn't even need to use the equalizer to the very end. 5-0, a clean ace to end the game for TL.
Team Liquid back on top here, racking up another win. That's going to put them at 17-9.
Team Liquid just making it look clean and easy here. Nearly 1 kill per minute, 26 kills in a 28-minute game. They don't even have the chance to pad the stats at the end because everybody on the enemy team is still dead, and TL take the dub.
You love to see when everybody on your team ends with a bounty.
That's true.
Fedora tips all the way around.
What? CoreJJ. Well done from Team Liquid, though. Honestly, like, Golden Guardians just seemed that they never really were able to find their footing too much in that game. They had a good moment there in the top side where they got the 2-for-1 play, but that's really about the only moment that it felt like they had a win in their column through this entire game, because they had the neutral objective control for Team Liquid the entire time, right? Santorin getting those first 2 Drakes and that first Rift Herald. They had the laning control, swapping to keep Lucian with Akali and then getting him away once Akali, you know, became Akali. Team Liquid just had the strats to get it done.
Yeah, honestly, Santorin is my vote for player of the game because of the way that TL were able to play as a team, you know, around the lane swap, his pathing, covering for both sides, double scuttle into the play on mid lane, off of the Camille stun, punishing the Viego for being up in the lane. These timings he's working off of, finding the enemy jungle. I thought that was really well coordinated by the team. Feels like he did a lot as far as information gathering and giving the lanes for what they need for their matchups. So, you know, big props to him.
And for me, my personal vote for player of the game is going over to CoreJJ, because turns out when Nautilus Q is a point-and-click ability, it is rather overpowered. And the man started so many fights for this team, so many engages, so many picks, so many counterattacks, that the CoreJJ Nautilus, I already said I love to see it. I'm saying it again. I love to see it. This is what CoreJJ is made of, man.
Yeah, honestly, the bottom lane for Team Liquid, especially with these picks, they've had such consistent success with both tactical on the Varus, constantly getting this harassment in, sniping people later into the game as well. But bringing the structure to their team fights and those picks you're talking about has been one of the biggest things, because with Varus Nautilus, they both have been able to get their own lane priority to buy time for CoreJJ to roam. They haven't had to call people to come unlock CoreJJ and allow the roam. He's like, I'm coming to you guys, and they've also been able to bring that to the team fights as well. So it's definitely a team effort.
Yeah, and we got to see the whole team work together well with those two doing their job. You already talked about what Santorin did, and then the solo laners being fluid back and forth. Okay, who needs to go to the Akali assignment? Who's on Akali homework now? They juggled it well. They were able to keep solo from ever being able to pop off, because there were a couple moments in some of those fights we saw how little the health bars were remaining on Team Liquid. If the game was a little bit closer, if solo was able to have a better early phase than having to deal with Lucian, could have been different.
One of my favorite moments of gameplay is when Santorin on the Rumble, and he does get player of the game.
He gets player of the game.
When the Akali goes in and the Shroud goes down, he gets to play the game of Flame Spitter's on, turn in a circle, find the Akali.
Yep, just make sure she dies anywhere in here. And they got that one done as well. It is so hard to hide from that incredible AoE on that thing. And man, Team Liquid just made it happen, right? They worked together as a team. We never saw a moment where it's like, all right, we're just going to yeet the ball down the field and hope we don't throw now. They played it well, they played it coherently, and they played it as a team. Dash is now on stage with Tactical for our Verizon